just before the break, we were just examining the potential in the fight against crime if all of our security personnel were utilized in a cohesive approach to fight crime.
CB, in today's world, you have certain outcomes of heads of governments being determined by cybercrime. What is part of security?
Yeah.
You're talking about giving a distinction. Security is one of the most
That's right.
distinctive careers that one can look at the forensics. All of this is a part of it. So we need to move the stigma that we have attached to our security officers.
Absolutely.
And I have a newfound respect for them.
Oh, yes.
Because as I said, sometimes I see them in environments. You know, I work in certain places. The minute you walk into the space, they're on your case.
Yeah, you're on there. Yeah.
Huh? They pick up immediately. You can't take a photograph of certain people in certain places.
Right.
Why? Because that photograph could end up
Social
anywhere in the
media.
world.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And that person could be a danger on a worldwide level.
That's right.
So when you talk about security, you're not just talking about the fella, like you say, opening and closing the door, standing at the door and stamping the
those days
receipt
are gone.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
In the high society of this
We have-
internet world that
that's
we
right.
live in, cybercrime is one of the biggest forms of crime in the
right
world
now.
today.
That's right. And not only that,
Hacking into people's
that's right, but not only that,
etc.
we have
All this
high
kind of thing.
net worth people
Yeah, man.
in large numbers in the Bahamas, especially New Providence.
numbers.
In these
Especially with
hotels,
we are
Lyford Care, and these
Yes,
gated
our
communities.
quote-unquote tourism product.
And they are looking for security for their boats. It will amaze you the number of security personnel that are out of uniform, some of them.
Yes, plain clothes.
But they're plain
That's right.
clothes working within the system.
As a matter of fact, how many of our high-ranking officers who are experts in the field
Oh, yes.
have been filtered off by these mega resorts?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they know they need that kind of security.
But let me tell you about the
on that
security,
property.
the training. If you look in the want ads of any paper, the most frequently advertised positions for trained security officers.
Yes.
Trained.
Train already.
Yeah, you watch the word train.
Trained.
Train. Because what we have done,
Very valuable.
when we recognized the increase in crime that this nation was about to experience, we realized that there would be a need for trained security officers. But not only in the field of direct security activities. Think about this. If you have a business and you need a clerk in your business or a teller in your bank, if that person has had basic security training, even though they're not involved in the business of security, but that person now brings an added asset to the table.
Because they know what to
because
look
of the
for.
training.
Yeah.
Because you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
They've been trained in body language, as you all have been.
Yes.
So you can. So I would want a person with that kind of skill
Right.
doing anything for me in my business.
And that's so important, because part of your program there that we had experienced last week, and most persons might have engaged that for the very first time, you have topics like powers of arrest.
Yes.
You know, you need to know as a security officer your powers of arrest.
Yes.
Because a lot of times felonies take place in your view and you don't know what to do. You know, and there's a difference between a trained security officer and a watchman.
Yes.
You know,
Of course.
we have watchmen. Watchmen are just basically your body.
Yes.
Just as say you have a body out there. But a security officer is a different category. That's an investigator. He's a statement and report writer. He does more than the average security themselves.
Yes.
Opening door, closing door. No. He's there, and you don't even sometimes know he's there.
That's right.
What you're saying, in essence, is sometimes when you got these fellas profiling as security officers, they're nothing more than watchmen.
Yes, some
That's
of
all.
them.
That's
Some
all.
of them.
Because all it is
Some
just a
of them.
body
Just
there.
a body. And you see, there is a body. Why? Because their bosses won the contract.
Yes, of course.
You see, but his program, the program that Bahamas Against Crime they deal with it, especially with Paul Thompson. We deal with evacuations, bomb threats, fire safety. You deal with legal lawsuits, you know, what would prevent you from being sued.
That's right.
And he did it from an experiential point of view, from his past experience working on the force, working in the hotels. And I could identify with that because I did the same thing. From the force, I went into the hotel sector. I went into security in Life at Key. I worked those places. So I am very well versed with those things. And where I'm working right now, I'm a security supervisor at Bahamas Faith Ministry. So most of the information, if not all, that we had last week, I had already engaged. But the thing is, most of the questions I asked was for the forum.
Of course.
There were questions that I had to ask for the newcomers into the field to understand. And like I said, once you complete that course, you could go on any job site.
So you're good to go.
You're good to go.
So CB,
that's the package.
Once they get their certificate, it's accredited.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
For example, while the program does not guarantee
A job.
but virtually every successful participant find work.
That's true. Because last week I came there and I got 2 guys from
To
his,
go down
there.
from the class.
We can
I profiled them myself.
Well, that's a testimony.
You know,
listen. Once it's announced, when we start
That's a
to
testimony.
advertise for participants, the calls start to come in. This security firm wants 6.
Yes.
The next security firm wants 3. We have
Sounds
a
like
small,
an opportunity.
a small hotel operator, a friend. I wouldn't call his name, but he operates a hotel property in the eastern part of the island. He was the first to call. He said, "Man, CB, save me 3."
wow.
So these people don't have to worry about getting a job.
And getting people trained.
Fantastic.
You understand what I'm saying?
Because they come into the table already trained.
Here you need to now call upon your alumni.
Yes.
And they need to give back to the program so we
Exactly.
can train
But they
others.
do. Many of them, listen, the camaraderie, I've never seen a
Yes, that's very
program
good.
that creates that level
Yes.
of camaraderie as we see in this program.
Excellent.
And so we are very, Bahamas Against Crime has been involved in a lot of programs and projects, but this is one we're extremely proud of. We want to introduce another one, which is coming up next week, Thursday, the 13th of September. And this is a very, very serious situation. And the conference is dealing with the abuse and exploitation of children.
Wow.
Freddie, we were investigating this for some time, but the catalyst for us trying to organize this program was when we saw the number of children that were being physically, emotionally, sexually abused and exploited.
And a lot of that stuff is covered.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Because
covered
a lot of it happens
from the home,
within the homes.
Within the homes. But
That is the problem.
But what we have seen, and the overriding shame for this society is, we really don't take care of our children.
Wow.
In the United States, in Florida, if a child goes missing, for example, in 1 hour, mobilization takes place.
Right away.
CB, this opens up a whole different level of discussion. And I can only go back to my childhood to reflect on it. We had communities
Yes.
and neighborhoods.
Yes.
We don't have those anymore.
Yes.
We had extended families,
Yes.
Brother Sirette.
Yes.
Not only was the grandmother there, the auntie, the uncle, the mommy, the daddy, the big brother, the cousin, all of them were living in the same
the same
yard. So no one
Absolutely.
could have come in there and abused no child.
No.
But what do we have today, CB? You don't live in, but you are associated with a community it's a transient community, one of the most historic communities in our country, Bain and Grantstown. But it's transient in that people are moving in and out
Back and forth.
on a regular basis.
Yes.
Back in the day, everybody knew my grandmother.
Yes.
Everybody knew Miss Hannah who lived on the corner. Everybody knew Mr. Carey who had the food store on the other corner.
right.
and Mr. Clark who lived, and Mr. Johnson who was the police officer around the corner.
Yes.
You couldn't come in there doing no foolishness.
No.
Yes. But you know,
Our society has
yes,
changed.
has changed.
Our
That's the point.
village
Concept,
concept
yes, has been
has disappeared.
Yes.
So now we have a situation where the child comes home with a cell phone that they can access anything around the world, and that cell phone is taking care of the child because that's the only thing that the child has
Social
to deal
life.
with. There's nobody there supervising that child when it gets home for the most part, because grandmother, who is now in her 40s, 30s sometimes. This is the grandmother now.
That's right.
Huh? In her
Absolutely.
30s. That means the child who had the child was a teenager when she had the child. So you got 10, 11, 12-year-old little girls now having children.
This is
And
a
you
serious-
raised that point from the very beginning.
And a lot of it is incest.
Yes.
Which
You
we
raised that point
cover.
when you said about cybercrime.
That's correct.
That is the same attachment.
Yes.
You have cybercrime. You have where you have perpetrators out there just
Preying on-
masking
oh, yes, oh,
their
yes, oh, yes,
identity.
oh, yes,
That's
oh,
what
yes.
they do.
That's
It's
correct.
masking their
Yes,
identity.
that is correct.
So the
That is
receiver then is thinking,
Yes.
oh, this is my friend. This is that.
Absolutely.
And then when you go and meet with this person, there's nobody safeguarding your haven anymore.
That's right.
The neighbor back in the day used to be able to reprimand you
come
without
on.
fear of punishment.
Oh, man.
Or being argued against with your parents. They had the legal right to absolutely punish you.
Oh, yes.
But right now, they're going out the door.
The
I'm
abuse.
not my brother's keeper anymore.
The abuse,
gone.
the abuse that we are experiencing now is unbelievable. Listen, in putting together this conference, we were not amazed, we were shocked by what we discovered. We're going to go into it in a little bit. But the truth is, this conference is designed to take the cover off of this situation. This
You
conference.
sure you won't open up that
No,
Pandora
no, no,
box?
it's not me. What we are doing, we are the facilitators.
It needs to be open, though.
Yeah. What we're doing, the conference is designed to bring in the stakeholders. This is not a town meeting or a seminar. This is a conference for stakeholders in the public and private sector. The public sector would include the Ministry of National Security, because it's a national security problem, which we'll explain in a minute. Ministry of Social Services, Ministry of Youth, to a less degree, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Tourism. But it's the private sector. All of the churches have been invited because churches and other organizations that are heavily engaged in the well-being of children very often have nobody who can recognize when abuse is taking place, and they are themselves abusers.
CB, that's one of the institutions where you find most, or not, if not most, a lot of the abuse.
Well, look, Freddie, let's take a quick break.
That
Boy,
one right
you,
there.
Freddie, you're ready, raring to go. We're going to deal with this when we return from this break.
Only love can save us now. Only love